Prime Minister, why are you making people in Scotland poorer?
What we are doing is we're taking decisive action. If you remember, when I came in as Prime Minister, people across the country were facing energy bills of up to £6,000. We were facing very high inflation and an economic slowdown. And what we've done through our energy price guarantee, which comes in on the 1st of October, is making sure that the typical household isn't paying more than £2,500. We're making sure that people aren't facing tax rises in areas like national insurance. And we're also making sure that we're doing all we can to keep the economy on track. Because we were facing an economic slowdown.
The pound is going down, prices, the cost of borrowing is going up. People are getting poorer on your watch.
Well, what we're seeing across the world is pressure on global economies because of Putin's war in Ukraine. So in the United States, we've seen interest rates going up. We're seeing pressure on currencies around the world. And of course, in Britain, we have the Independent Bank of England, which makes the decisions about interest rates. But what we have done as a government is done what we can to help people in these very difficult economic times. The majority of the package we announced on Friday was about the energy price guarantee to make sure people were not facing those huge energy bills and not facing tax rises. That's what the budget was about.
But why should people believe that your gamble will pay off when the international markets don't seem to believe you?
This is about making sure people have support through this winter and next winter. And that is the right thing to do. It is right that because of the really difficult economic circumstances we face and the world faces, that we're doing all we can to support people. That does mean extra borrowing this winter. The Chancellor will be setting out in November how we're going to get borrowing down as a proportion of GDP over time. But what would have been completely wrong is for people to face those huge energy bills and people to face tax rises just at a time when we are in this very, very difficult economic situation.
The International Monetary Fund.
That is why we have taken the action that we have taken. And we took similar action during COVID because of a very difficult economic shock. We've had a very difficult economic shock because of the war in Ukraine.
When you say because of the war in Ukraine, the budget seems to have triggered a great deal of market volatility. The International Monetary Fund says that your budget is going to increase inequality. Is there any good reason that Nicola Sturgeon should match your tax cuts for the wealthiest in Scotland?
Well, what I want to do is work with Nicola Sturgeon to deal with our energy crisis. And that's about making sure we're producing more homegrown energy. I'm keen to use more of the resources in the North Sea, also see more nuclear power stations built across the country, including in Scotland. And I'm very keen to talk to Nicola Sturgeon about that because I think it will help us make sure we have long-term energy security, that alongside wind power in Scotland, we also have nuclear power in Scotland. But I think there is a fundamental point here about what is happening internationally. Internationally, we are seeing interest rates rising in response to Putin's war in Ukraine. And the action we have taken as the UK government is making sure that we are holding people's energy bills down, and we've had to borrow to do that, but we will get borrowing back on track, but also making sure that we aren't putting people's taxes up at this very difficult economic time.
Are you playing internationalist hands on independence?
I am very keen to work with Nicola Sturgeon to make sure we grow the Scottish economy. Scotland is a country that has fantastic entrepreneurs, fantastic exports. I believe that by improving infrastructure, by reducing taxes, we can really turbocharge the Scottish economy. I'm keen to work with Nicola Sturgeon on that.